So the Chicago Bears just gave us some good and bad news. We're talking about two players that the old Bears coaching staff, they really spoke highly of, really liked them. These two dudes are going to be back for their second seasons with the team. That's the good. The bad news is there's a Chicago Bears fan favorite, a player that I really like. He's saying goodbye to Chicago, and we're going to talk about him as well. So that's the good. Let's start with the good. And if you're new to the channel, this is Sports Talk Bears. I'm Sean. Hey, we have a lot of fun here. We've kind of developed a really cool community here on this channel. If you'd like to join us, hit the subscribe button. Would love to have you. So let's kind of get to it. The Bears tendered exclusive right free agents Bill Murray and Daniel Hardy. They made offers in this way that it means that they can't leave in free agency, and they're going to get minimum level contracts. And if you're not familiar with this, an exclusive rights free agent, that's a player of 2 or less accrued season, a guy whose contract has expired. So the original holding team, they get first dibs, and that's exactly what happened with the Chicago Bears here. So the Bears aren't only trading for offensive linemen. They brought in 2 Pro Bowl offensive guards here. You guys have heard all about it. But they're also making moves to hold on to some of their own. And Tom Pelissero, the NFL media, he reports that they tendered Bill Murray to a contract. And I just want to go to it here. If you're not that familiar with Murray, he spent the 2023 season on the Bears practice squad, and then he made it onto the active roster 3 times during the 2024 season. I mean, we had some issues on the offensive line, and Murray, he was really faithful in these 3 games that he started in. A little more on Murray that most of you might not know. A former defensive lineman. He converted to offense in his first season with the New England Patriots. He got cut, and then he signed with the Bears. And in these 3 games of action last year, he started to impress coaches. He had some strong reps starting out in training camp. Then he balled out in preseason. And then he ended up playing 42 plays with the offense in the regular season against Carolina and Jacksonville. The guy's just a max effort guy. He was really starting to shine and impress last year when pressed into action. And he's just a dude that you want on your team, but you don't want him as a full-time starter. That's not who he is. And now with the acquisitions of Tooney and Jackson at guard, guys like Murray, they can really fill out the roster and do what they're supposed to do, provide quality backup reps, and be able to be pressed into a start if something really bad happens. He was really starting to come into his own, and then he suffered a really unfortunate season-ending pec tear against Washington in Week 7. And I'm not talking about that Washington game. I still have PTSD. Let's just move on to Hardy. And kind of Hardy, he's an edge rusher. He produced, if you remember, in that Tennessee Titans game, really dismal game to start. We needed a spark, and he's the guy that produced the key play of this season opener. It ended in a 24-17 win. The guy blocked this punt. Jonathan Owens scooped it up, scored from 21 yards out. Just an amazing play, and the Bears were lifeless and down 17-3 at the time. So this spark that he provided really, essentially set the stage for winning this game. And you're looking at Hardy's kind of history in the league. He played briefly for the Rams in 22, active for every game last season for the Bears, and he had 12 tackles with a forced fumble. And he just really balled out in the preseason and in camp, earned a spot on this team. I really like him. The guy's gritty. I really like that he's still a part of this team. And he tied our guy Amen for the special teams tackles lead with 11. He tied Tarvarius Moore for the most solo special team tackles with 7 as well. So now we're looking at, as far as these restricted free agents, these exclusive right free agents, we're looking at defensive lineman Jonathan Ford and cornerback Amir Speed. They're the only remaining guys with that status. We'll see what the Chicago Bears end up doing with them. And then it's kind of looking at some other things. It was previously reported that the Bears would not tender an offer to restricted free agent linebacker Zach Sanborn. And I'm kind of a little sad about this. And the Bears have a right of first refusal on him. So if they decided to keep him, that would have meant a $3.263 million deal for 2025. That's more than the guy made in his first 3 years of playing. Not super surprised that the Bears decided not to do this. In Sanborn, he's going to be a free agent, but I wouldn't fully rule out a return to Chicago because he's been our starting strong side linebacker. He's going to test the market. He might check in with his former coach. Flus is over in Dallas. He might say, "What's up, Flus? Do you want me here?" I mean, that's a possibility. But kind of looking at Sanborn as a player, he joined the Bears as an undrafted free agent from Wisconsin in 2022, and he's a local guy. He played ball in Lake Zurich. Looking at his 3-year career, kind of the overview, he's appeared in 48 games, 19 starts, has made 164 tackles, 14 tackles for a loss, 4.5 sacks. He's had an interception. He's had a fumble recovery. I mean, he's been a pretty decent player for us. And on top of that, he's been a core special teamer. And he's always added positional flexibility in this 4-3 scheme that the Bears have run in the past. It's still going to be a 4-3 scheme under Dennis Allen. So it's a possibility he might still be pressed into action. But there's also a lot of talk and a lot of news coming out of the Chicago Bears organization that he wasn't really a perfect fit for Dennis Allen's scheme. So that's why they didn't want to throw $3 million plus at him. But this guy's a class act, though, and I really want to go to this. This is what he had to say, and the guy's all heart. Bears fans, thank you for supporting me over the years. I'm grateful that I was a part of such a wonderful organization with the best fans in the world in my heart. I will always be a Chicago Bears. So that's really good to hear. The guy's a class act. And the guy's been a fan favorite. I've always really enjoyed him. Won a roster spot as an undrafted rookie. Later made 6 starts at middle linebacker. And then you're kind of looking as an alternative. The Bears could have attempted to sign Sanborn new contract of their own design if he comes back into town. But, I mean, his farewell, that kind of indicates that the Bears aren't going to do that until free agency starts and see if any other team bites for his services. Now, what do we do now without Sanborn? I mean, the Bears might seek out another linebacker for help in free agency or the draft. We've got Tremaine Edwards. We've got TJ Edwards. And also, let's not forget about 2023 fifth-round pick Noah Sewell. But really, the Bears traditionally prefer to have 5 linebackers on their team. So look for some additions. I don't know if that means bringing back Sanborn. Nothing's really clear, though. But in defensive coordinator Dennis Allen, he might have different ideas about which of the returning personnel fits his scheme. So that really happens a lot when a new regime comes in, a new defensive coordinator comes in. You've got some really good players, some really gritty guys that don't always fit the scheme. So as fans, we can't be fully nostalgic. We can't like, it's hard to say goodbye to these players, but having a good team and improving means some of these players that we used to really put up on the shelf, they're not going to be quite good enough to be a part of a new winning regime. So kind of to finish up, we've got other Chicago restricted free agents awaiting word. We're looking at defensive lineman Chris Williams. He had some pop last year. We got him for a 6th-round pick, I believe, from Cleveland. You can check me on that. Just a really good pickup for him. I would love to see him return. Cornerback Josh Blackwell. You guys saw how this guy played when he was pressed into action due to injuries. The guy really had some pop plays. He really did a really good job. I'd like to see him back. We've got Jalen Jones still as a restricted free agent. And then center Doug Kramer. Say what you will about Doug Kramer. He might be a good depth guy, but he's not someone I'm going to die on the hill for. You guys let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts on losing Jack Sanborn. I know he was a favorite. He was a favorite of mine. And also kind of what you think in general. Hardy showed a lot of effort, max effort guy, and I can say the same about both guys, both Bill Murray and Daniel Hardy. They're not high on the athletic measurables chart, but they're definitely gritty, like go-get-em guys. They really made their mark on this team, and I'm glad to see him back. And the contract's going to be minimal, really starting to fill out this roster a little bit. So we're going to talk a little more in the upcoming days leading up to free agency. There's some guys in the mix that I didn't think would be at first. We're looking at even Ashton Genty still in the mix. I just talked about Mason Graham. We're going to kind of talk about some of these possible scenarios that are possible to happen in the draft. I can't wait until free agency. Now the Bears have jumped the gun and done 2 really big lifts, but the Bears are still sitting at $51 million plus in that's crazy in cap money still. They're still in the top 10 in cap money after signing 2 Pro Bowlers to our offensive line. We're just so blessed by how GM Ryan Poles has handled this cap, and I have no doubt I'm going to trust him to continually manage it well. Bear down, you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think of these moves, and I'm going to be right here with you as we move through free agency and then the draft, and then real football is going to be here before you know it. Bear down, and we'll talk soon. See ya.